you for joining this session for the BFC, the BFC can help you to clone or migrate the metadata from one Salesforce org to another Salesforce org. So this application has features which can help you to perform these actions in very few and very simple steps. Like while doing a migration, so we have to take care of a lot of things in it. So a couple of things includes migrating the whole objects with a bunch of fields, migrating the validation rules. You want to compare the different metadata between the two orgs. For example, if you have two orgs and they're not interlinked to each other, so you have to compare like how many fields are there in the first org and how many are in the second org. So for those, you can easily use this application. You can just get the differences between the two orgs. So we can also compare the profiles. We can also compare. We are coming with a couple of new features on this application where you can also compare the layouts. You can also compare the process builders. So that's a big feature which is coming in the month of March, the mid of March, where you can compare the process builders, which variable, which feature is there in the first org and which is not, which is there in the second org. So you can easily compare the process builders for that. So today the highlights would be just a brief introduction about the BFC, like what BFC does, what is our org migration, how we clone an entire object from one org to another org, how we compare some metadata using BFC in between two orgs, and finally we will be having export, how we can use export and import features for migration. So just a small brief introduction. What is BOFC? It's a purely a native application being installed in the Salesforce org, and admins and developers can use it to perform different bulk and CRUD actions. So basically, these I think you are aware about the features about how it works on the object fields, layouts, profiles, assignment rule, validation rule, workflow, process builders. So a lot of features, a big list of 20 plus features, which can save a lot of time for anyone in this. So as we have discussed, like what is org migration? So while doing an org migration, the first of all, the first thing we do is to migrate the objects which are there in the first org to the another org, right? So there is not a simple way where you can migrate the objects in a different org. So BFC has a feature which can easily help you to clone any number of fields into any number of other org, right? It can also help you, like for example, in case of org migration, we have to take the backups of the org metadata, like we have to take the export of objects, profiles, flows, process builders, layouts, right, for documentation purpose. Because in case of migration, the people has to do the documentation first to see like what has been configured in the old org. They make some decisions on the exported sheets, and then then they plan out for the new org setup, right? So BFC helps you to perform the documentation part also for the businesses, and also help us to import those files in the Salesforce to perform the actions which they're looking for, right? So similarly, we can create the new objects and the fields in very few simple steps. We can compare the different objects. We can manage the field permissions using an Excel import as well, and we can also import validation rules in the system. So the main feature for today's demo was how we can do a clone of an object from one Salesforce org to another Salesforce org, right? So initially, this feature was designed to clone the object from the same org in which the BFC was installed, right? But now we have upgraded this feature, and now you can select the source object as your from any of your other org, and the target can be in the org in which you want to have the fields. So let's see what it is and how it works. So here in this, once we install the, let me just take it a step back. So I'm just in the classic right now mode. So once we have the application installed in the Salesforce, we can go to the app launcher and we can launch the application. This application works in both Lightning and Classic. No, nothing issues with that. So I'm audible, right, to everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So once we launch the application, this is the home page of the application. And from here, we can go to the clone object. So different categories have different features. Like for the field operations, we have list of operations. For the objects, we have list of operations. So every category have a set of operations which we can perform on them. Now, let's discuss about what is a clone object and how it can help you out. So the first step is to select the source org. So for example, my source org is some XYZ org from where I want to import my object. If your org is not listed in this drop down, you can add a new org using this very small steps. Just click on this button, manage org. Just click on the new environment, and here you can configure your environment details, the source org from where you want to import the object. Right? For example, you just fill the fields, and once you have the fields filled, you can just come back to the screen and you can select the org which you have selected out. For example, I am taking this org as a for the demo purpose, right? So once you select the org, it's going to ask you the name of the source object. You have to enter the API name of the object. So for example, I'm just picking this object. This object is available in this org, right? Next step it comes is whether do you want to create a new object or you want to use any existing object for it, right? So let's take example, I want to create a new object, and here I can give my name of the object. Let me give it as a test k. Okay. So once I have given my the target object name and the label, it will ask me what actions I have to perform. Do I want to clone all the fields, only the custom fields which are not of exception relational or formulas? If I want to clone all relationship fields, relationship means lookup or master childs. Do I want to clone all the formula fields, right? So once I select my actions to perform, next I can select field permissions. Do I want to set any field permission for the newly fields in the target object? Yes. So I want to assign permission to system admin and one of my custom profile, test profile, right? And I want to assign read only, read all, and edit all permissions. So once you have done this configuration, right? So we can initiate this process. Let's initiate this process and let's see. Okay, so here it comes with a status. So we have to perform the list of activities by just clicking the create button. So the first step is create new object. Just click this button and it's going to create the object in the backend, the new object, and plus it's going to analyze the number of fields in the source object. Like how many fields are there for custom fields, how many are relationship field, how many are formula fields. In few simple steps, you can clone around 500 fields in a single in a couple of minutes only.
Does it put them on a page layout?
So we are coming with an enhanced version in the next release in the March, where you can also clone the validation rules. You will be able to clone buttons, and you will be able to clone page layouts. So those three additions are going to come in the March release. Okay, so here my new object is ready. Okay, I have new color. Okay, so my new object is ready. I can just view my new object by just clicking this view object link. So here is our test key object, right? Right now it's not having any field. Okay, let's go back to the clone page. Okay, so this has 170 custom fields, it has 15 relationship fields, and it has 15 formula fields, 25 formula fields, right? So we have to just click on create one by one, and let's see. So I have just clicked the first 100. So it will take some like 30 seconds or max to maximum 60 seconds, and it will perform the action for the first 100 fields. Why I have split these into three sections is, until we have the normal fields, custom fields entered, we cannot create all your relationship or formula fields, because formula fields have a reference of the normal fields. Now I can see that my first 100 fields are created. So I will go to the object and I will just refresh this page. Okay, I can see there are 97 fields which came here, right? Now you will have a question that where are the three fields, right? So here you can just scroll it a little bit down and you will see the source field which got error out. So there are three fields which got error out because of this reason, right? So the source or was having a global pick list which is not available in this target out. So that's why this field got error out, right? So the 100 fields are done, created now. Now we can go with the next 70 fields. So very simple steps, clicks only, and you will see the results with the error, like which fields are created, which fields are not created in a single screen. And no need to export any sheets, no need to import any sheets. Directly just configure your org and import, and just configure your org and directly clone the object in a single few steps.
So can you clone to, say, for example, you took the account object from a source org and then cloned it to a custom object. Could you take like an account from one object from the source org and apply it to the other, or do you always have to create a new object when you clone?
I'm going to come to that question, that
Okay.
question which you have. Okay, so
Okay.
so we have total 97 plus. Just refreshing. Just give me a couple of seconds. Okay, it's refreshing. Okay, so we have 164 fields created, right? So total were 170. So we should have six error outs. So these are six error outs because of the reasons which are there, right? Now I for some reasons my this page got refreshed out, or I just forgot to do these two actions, right? To create the relationship fields and formula fields. So what I will do is I will just refresh my page, right? Now I will do the same action once again. I take the Brian off. I took the same object, source object, right? Now, in spite of creating a new object, I will use the existing object, right? And my existing object is test k. I will use the test k as a my dummy object, which I have created in the first step. Test k, where is test k? Test k. Okay, test k, right? Now I just want to clone my relationship fields only and only formula fields, right? No need to clone these custom because they are already there in the which we have already done it. So in this case, it's not required that you have to create a new object every time. You can use your existing object as well in this case. I hope I answer your query, Troy.
Yeah, thank you for that. I asked earlier about the page layout, so I'll be looking forward to March because I want to clone from an existing org into another target org. I guess, well, these fields that you're cloning, they're not going to show up on the pages then. They're just going to be on the object, right?
No, it's if you're going to give them the permission on the system admin, then it will be shown on the layout as well for you.
Okay.
So we have selected two profiles, test and system admin. So we can check the permissions for them as well. So you can see these two profiles are having permission, system admin and test profile. So you can also assign the permissions and they can easily done. So in this case, I have just selected two things, relationship fields and formula fields. So it just show me these two only, and I can just click on it and my whole object is now cloned with all the fields from the source object, right? Very easy and nothing to play with any export or import of an Excels and all, direct way. Any questions from anyone? I know some of you have joined a little late. So any questions from anyone on this?
Hey, Mohit, it's Ed Santandria. Yeah, apologies for being late. If the question's been covered, we can deal with it later. So let's say we're going from org A to org B, and we're incrementally adding some fields, but not all.
Okay.
Does this recognize that? In other words, if I'm going from a sandbox to production,
Mm-hmm.
and 5 out of my 15 fields are existing,
Mm-hmm.
will this recognize the existence of the existing 5 and just do the remaining 10 incrementally new fields?
Yep. In case if your fields are already there in the object, it's going to give you the error, and they will be
Right.
listed here that the fields
Okay.
already exist in the system.
And like a pick list value change, so existing fields in both orgs, but we've incrementally added or removed a pick list value. What would happen in that situation?
Yep, I think that's a good question for the pick list values, because no, it does not do the pick list values. If you are changing just a pick list values in a field, then it won't copy that field, because we at the initial level only we just check if the field exists or not. If
The
it
API field
exists,
name.
yeah, that's it. We does
Got it.
not check any values on a deeper level. So for that, you have to use the other feature which we have is the update fields to perform that action.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is the solution that you're demoing here, Mohit, is this the one that is in the field today? Because when I just went to clone an object, I did not receive the ability to use an existing object, only to create one.
Okay, so this feature is a new feature which I just I think before you joined the call. So I told Troy that this is a new feature which is we have enhanced this feature, the clone feature, with the new upgrades to it. So this feature is going to come live after 1 hour of our call, and you can have the latest version installed from the setup. So uh, you can just go to the home page of the BFC application. You can go to the settings, and from the settings you can just go to the app version and go to the version details. So once you will go to the version details, you will see this blue button and with the new package here, right? So just click on this button and you will have the latest version on your system with the new
I
feature.
think I've only got the single license, I guess. I don't have.
No, it's not to upgrade the package. It's just to upgrade the BOFC package only. It's nothing that you have to like upgrade the paid version. No, just you can just upgrade it and it will be you can use the same key which you already have it.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is that I don't have the same UI that you're looking at right there. When I go to settings, mine doesn't look like that.
Okay, I think then you are having a very old version with you. So no worries. After this call, I can just have a we can just have a quick screen share and I can just help you out with a new version of it.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so this was Ivan, right? Okay, perfect. So let's move ahead. So this was a clone feature where you can easily perform the action for the clone, right? So let's move on to the next one of our pipeline. So next we have compare your metadata across multiple orgs, right? So BFC can help you to compare the metadata across multiple items, right? So few items we right now have it in our plate, but few of them are going to come in the next upcoming release in the March, right? So right now we can compare the metadata across two things right now, which is objects and the profiles. So in the upcoming release in the March, we're coming with two more features. One is to compare the process builders across multiple orgs. So this application will help you out find what are the differences between the process builders in the two different Salesforce orgs, right? And the second is going to come out with the layouts. If you want to compare the layouts of any object across two different orgs, you can just have a differences listed in front of you. So those two features are going to be added in the March release. But I can just guide you through two features which we already have it, which is compare your objects and compare your profiles. Okay, so here we go to the BFC homepage, and in the comparator section, we have the section to compare the objects. Just a very simple UI. If you want to compare the same object in two different orgs, so you can have this option. If you want to compare two different objects in two different orgs, right? So you can go with the second option, right? So let's go with the first option first, in which my object name is same in both the orgs, right? So first of all, I will select my two different orgs. One, let me take this one, and let me take the brand one, okay? And here I'm going to compare the object called the company. The company is a account object, right? So let's come, and now what I want to compare, I want to show all the things, or I want to just see the similarities, or I want to see the differences only. So let's go with the differences. So once you click on the compare object, it's going to compare the account object across two different orgs, and it will show you what are the differences between the two orgs and the fields which are there, right? So these are the fields which are available in the brand org, and these are the fields which are available in the picklist org. The differences only, right? Now, if you want to see the similarity, you can just select the similarity and you can click it again. And now it shows you the similarity between two objects. The fields are same and they are similar, right? You can also take an export of this sheet with all the things with similarity over differences, right? So this is when you want to compare the same object across two different Salesforce orgs, right? Now let's go with the second option, in which my object is different in the two different orgs. Let me just refresh as a small UI range. Okay, I'll go with the second option. So let's select account in this one, and let's take case in this one. Let me take two orgs. Okay, now let's see the scenario this. Okay, so these are the fields of your the account object, and these are the fields of your case object. Now, why this scenario has been taken care? Because sometimes what the people does is they clone an a single object from one org to another org, right? So while cloning, they change the object name. Now, if they have an object name account in one org and they have created a clone of that account object in some other org, so they can compare the fields and the differences between those two. So that's why this option was added, where if you want to compare two objects with different names in two different orgs, right?
So the premise here is, how do you know which is which from the first org on the
So
API? In other words, yeah.
okay, so the org whichever you select here is going to be counted as a first, and second whichever org you
Okay.
select is the second object, the second org.
Visually then. Okay, so Brian's the first org and Test is the second. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. So for example, if for right now we have just compared this account object and we have just cloned it to test k, right? The custom object we have just created out. It was a current org. No, but let's leave it. So here you can easily compare two different objects and the two different orgs. Very few simple steps, right? So it's not required to configure your org multiple times. No, you just have to configure the org once only in any feature, and it will be reflected in all the features, the same org. So it's the same screen. No need to configure it multiple times. You can just add it once only, and you are ready to use it, right? So this is how the comparison works. You can easily compare the things metadata across two different Salesforce orgs, right? So the next feature on the comparison is the profiles. Like sometimes it's a big requirement which comes like you have to compare the profiles. So in the profile category, you can just go to the compare profile. Here's a compare profile section, compare profiles, where you can compare multiple profiles and you can find out the differences between each. For example, I want to compare system admin and these two profiles, right? And I want to compare all the features, object permissions, user permissions, everything on the profiles, right? And I want to compare those profiles and want to see like how the differences work on those two profiles. Now here comes the main thing. Do you want to compare the profiles within the same org or between two different orgs? The two different orgs are, one is the current org in which you are right now, and the second is the another org you can select out. I want to compare my current org with this org, right? And you want to compare only unmanaged things or managed things. By unmanaged means it's not a part of any kind of an app exchange or a Salesforce package, and managed means it's a part of the package as well, right? So you can easily compare the things between these two things, right? Okay, I think, right? So this is a feature you can easily compare and you can just have a side by side data for it, right? So the last one for today's topic is export and import, right? So BFC also helps you to export the things and you can easily import them in the Salesforce, right? In the using the BFC application, like you can export the objects, you can export the fields from any objects, you can export the validation rules and you can import them. For example, let's go with a validation rule, like how a validation rule works. Uh, Let me go to the validation rule feature. For example, you have this application installed on two different Salesforce orgs, right? So what you can do is you can just take an export of all the validation rules of an object. For example, my this object has a validation rules, and I just click on the download validation rules. So this is my sheet which is exported out, right? Now I want to create the same validation rules, right, in some other object. For example, let's take an object as opportunity, right? So what I will do is I will just change the object name to opportunity. I think the screen size is too slow. Oh, right, I will just change my object name to the API name of the object, right? And I will just click on the save, right? Right. So I will go back to the Salesforce BFC application. I will just refresh this page. I will go to the create feature. Will select the file which I have just exported out. It will show me all the rules which I have. with all the filters which I have added out, right? You can also scroll to see the other fields, right? You can select the rules and just click this button. So all the rules are created on the opportunity level. So here I will go to the system and will quickly verify out. I will go to the setup. Okay, I will go to the opportunity. So here are my all the 4 rules which I have just added out. So just very simple, install the application into your source org, take an export of all the validation rules from there, just open the sheet, just change the API name of the object and just re-import the validation rules, right? So a very simple way, right? Until we have the feature to easily clone them, but for the time being, you can just use this method to clone your rules in a very simple way, right? Any questions on this validation rules, import and export and all?
Is some of this intended long term to become almost like a oh god, just change set kind of concept? In the sense of, you've got a production in a sandbox, you do
Mm-hmm.
some changes in sandbox, and of course you want to push that back into production when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Is this sort of a way to utilize it?
See, chain set can work in case if those two orgs are interlinked to each other, like the
Mm,
sandbox and production. In that case, chain set is okay to migrate the things. But in case if you have two different orgs which are not linked to each other, there is
mm,
no chain set between those two, right? In that case, this application is a time saver for you, where you won't have to do the things manually by open any every validation rule, right? So you won't have to open any object, any validation, nothing. Just take an export and just import it back. That's it. You can easily save your manual effort of these things.
okay, thank you.
Right? Okay. So the last one for okay. So here the same thing will happen with the field permissions. So we'll quickly go through the field permissions as well. Okay, so here is a section for the field permissions where if you want to compare the field permissions, if you want to export or if you want to update, let's take an example. You have a source of, right? So where you have a lot of profiles with the field permissions, right? And you want to update the same permission into the same org, right? Okay, so I have selected the type as a profile and I want to do an export of the field permissions. I will select my object, for example, this one, and I choose my profile as a system admin and these two profiles, and I just click on the initiate to export. Okay, we'll just wait for a couple of seconds for the process to complete. It's about to finish. Okay, it's not complete. So once you have the processing complete, you can just import the same sheet onto the bulk update permissions, where you can easily compare, you can easily update the field permissions of all the objects. Sometimes if you are stuck on this this step, you can just initiate the process once again, or you can just refresh the page and you can try it, because the things sometimes take time because of the Salesforce resources which are available for processing and all. It all depends on those things as well. Okay, so okay, I think we just have less than 1 minute left. So I will just leave this for any questions if anyone have any questions on the application. Hello.
Yeah. Mohit, maybe you address this standard field level security on standard fields. That's still a future roadmap idea.
Okay. Sure, David. I have that in my pipeline to take care of, and will surely take care of in the upcoming releases. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, so we'll like to wrap up the call, and thank you for joining, everyone. So we'll share the video recording and the PPT very soon with you.
Thank you, William. Take care.
Yep.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.